One thing I learned a long time ago is there's always more than one way to do pretty much everything. What works best for you may not be what works best for someone else. It pays to keep an open mind and learn how other people do things. A few months back, I asked Pete to install a door on our new workshop finishing room. I already had an antique door that Mustache Mike picked up at an auction, and even though the door itself still needs restoration, I just wanted it hung for now. So we found some pine boards on the lumber rack, and he built a simple door frame that fit the door itself and that slid into the rough opening. There's not much to a door frame, just 3 boards with butt joints at the corner. It seems fragile, but it'll be plenty strong when it's installed. The installation is where things got interesting. If you do a YouTube search, you'll find some solid tutorials about door frame installation. It's not a difficult process, but it takes some fussing and fine-tuning, and you'll find people using all sorts of different tools, from levels and squares to long straight edges and even plumb bobs. If I was doing it, I'd do a method similar to what John used over at the I Built It Home channel. But Pete lived for years in Brooklyn, where, among other things, he built and installed countless doors in office buildings and brownstones all over the city. In an environment like that, where your tools may be in a truck several stories or several blocks away, that forces you to learn to be creative and efficient. For example, he didn't nail the frame in place. He just stood it loosely in the opening, and having already cut the mortises with the router, he drove a screw in the door's top hinge, making sure that that part of the frame was flush with the wall before driving the screw through the frame and into the stud. With the shim beneath the door to help hold it off the floor, he aligned the lower hinge just as he did the top, and with the frame flush to the wall, he drove a second screw. Just 2 screws for now, one in the top hinge and one in the bottom to partially secure the door and the frame. Now the door itself becomes your square, straight edge, and your spreader stick. By closing the door and looking at the gap across the top and down the 2 sides, you can tell by eye where shims must be added to finish securing the frame in the opening. If the gap is even all the way around, then the frame is straight, plumb, and square. Or at least as straight and square as the door is, which is what matters. After the gap is consistent all the way around, including beneath the door at the floor, and the frame is secure, only then did he nail on strips of wood to create closure stops. He started with a nail at the top of the strip, then he closed the door and aligned the strip against it to drive the rest of the nails. This ensured that the door would close flat against the stop even if there was a slight twist in the frame. I'd never seen it done like this. No level, no square, no spreaders or gauges, just the door itself as a guide. I'm no builder. Maybe this method is more common than I thought. It certainly would be nice on a job site where you don't want to lug around a bunch of extra tools. But not only does this video present maybe an alternative for your next project, but it's a reminder that sometimes it pays to stand back and let someone else work rather than insisting everything be done the way you think is best. MyWoodcutters.com is the sort of small business I like to support. Stefan is a great guy, and he can find you knives and cutters for almost any joiner, planer, shaper, or molding machine. And his are the best prices if you're planning to upgrade to a helical carbide cutter head. Please use the link below this video to check with him before you buy somewhere else. Some small businesses are just worth supporting. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.